Here.
McDermott.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Parsons.
Here.
McDermott.
Here. Twice.
Lawson.
Okay, we have a form. We'll move to item number 3. Approval of minutes of the regular meeting on May 1st, 2026.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from May 2026.
Second.
Weaver.
Yes.
McDermott.
Yes.
Parsons.
Yes.
Kennedy.
Yes. Okay, we'll move to item number 4, reports from staff. City council report.
It was a pretty routine, short routine meeting. Some of the highlights I'll talk about. Andy Chrisman did get his 25-year service award from LML, so we got to recognize him. We approved ASAP Energy invoices, which is airport fuel, and that's relevance there. And then there was also a change order, which was a deduction of $5,748.21 for the airport jet fuel tank project. And then we signed the engagement letter for the city's audit. That's kind of just an overview. If you have any questions, either I or Kelly can answer.
Will you hold your public budget meeting?
June 15th. 5:30 at City Hall, 6:30 at City Hall. And if all goes well, the budget is ready for approval that day also. But if necessary, schedule a special meeting prior to June 23rd. If necessary, that's the last date we can approve the budget.
Anybody else have questions for the 16th?
Is there an agenda to be able to go in there and ask questions to the public?
There's an agenda item for public hearing regarding, it's called the budget hearing. So it's for public input on the budget.
Anybody else? Now we'll move on to item E, the manager's report.
We'll start with fuel like we always do. Traffic was a little bit slow this night. I think just due to the increase in fuel prices, which we're going to discuss later on. Wind, rain, whatnot, but it's still a profitable month because we were still into our old gas from December of gas. So we just rolled into the new month, starting the new inventory at a higher fuel price, cost of fuel. So with these numbers, we still show pretty good profit. Now the concern and awareness I'm bringing later with the discussion is, okay, now we're into this $2 more a gallon, what we gave for this load split with Woodward. And luckily we're kind of rolling through it, trying to get through that fuel, the margins are really tight, or beginning to be tight. So anyway, going through this report, Avgas, 2,268 gallons, Jet A, 5,756 gallons. I got gross sales out there for you, and then the net out to the right of that for both of those. And we sold a little bit of oil this month. Now, as you go on down, credit card fees weren't near as bad this month, counting them up. So all in all, without including overhead expense or anything else, we profited $75.0592 fuel and oil. Other income, we did have a guy come in for 3 nights in our round top hangar, $15 a night, so $45 there, and sold a t-shirt. So that's kind of a roundabout what we sold.
Is 15 a night pretty standard?
It's pretty standard. I mean, we're probably a little lower.
It seems
20.
Awfully low.
I mean, this was, and actually this was something I think I said when I was here in 2018, so it's something we might have to adjust.
We'll get to news.
Sure. But Joe, you got to realize that it's a public ground top, it's not like you get your own T hanger.
It is, it's just,
Yeah,
That's,
but I've also paid over $15 to park my car in Oklahoma City. You know, that's my experience. I've never parked the airplane, but I know I've parked a car at, you know, and there's times it's cost more than $15, so it's seen the way.
Well, and if you, it's funny, but a twin, of course, in size, it's more money.
we charge a little more for a twin,
Okay.
and then even, so this would just.
I mean, I wouldn't be affordable because if they're planes here, they're probably in town spending money.
They
But-
were here, yeah, they were here spending money, take the fuel the car back.
There was a time we didn't charge them at all. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, just for the responsibility of having it there or something,
right.
you know.
In the hangar, you know, we get that constructed. I did have a couple, you know, well, one, Pilates that came in for a couple of nights, and the weather was kind of looking like it could do something, but we do have a tenant that has space at times that we can call upon, and we can put that in there usually. But with this hangar, we need to go down and do it, so. Then just other items that I just kind of continual progress things, red truck. We brought it out here, got it cleaned up, took some really high quality photos with the drone. Got all the, I had trouble there for a minute trying to figure out what was all in the truck, engine, transmission, all that. And doing a little more digging, took me about a week, I found all that in the computer. I didn't dig there, but you know, finally came across all that was on it. So I was able to generate an ad, get it ready. And then in this last week, I got govdeals.com as the bidding surplus place to go with. I think we'll have our best luck with. This is something I've never done, so I'm an amateur at this, but I think getting that on, we had to register last week, and they got to approve you. They look at your bank information, your routing stuff, and they'll email me back. I followed up on it today, try to expedite that. Hey, get with your sales department, because it goes, you can't just call the sales department to get information, like what the cost is. The lady told me 7, 10, 14 days is kind of what the running on the bids is.
We've been doing most of our other surplus stuff 14 days.
Okay. So the plan is this week, I'm hoping this week I can launch that thing. We'll get an ad in the newsroom, we'll get Marion and a commercial truck grader and point those people to that site that are interested and maybe put it down.
Can you set a reserve on gut deals?
There will be, so that was kind of another part of like, I'd like to kind of get your input, and maybe it's action item, but what a reserve price would, what you guys would think on that. I was thinking at least half of reserve, half of what we did, and the same one. I don't know, that's just my.
Or, I mean, I just like to see it go. I don't think it's not like it.
So,
Yeah, I don't know where to set the reserve, and I don't have any idea, because it's like, so do we set the reserve too high, and then we don't sell it, and then we put it back, but I mean, we can turn around and reduce the reserve and put it back up there again too.
It's better to sell it first
First
time.
time, yeah. I would.
you know, it's an overall good condition. We got it out
It's
here.
long mileage.
But it's got good tread on the tires, it's clean, I mean, it ran, it got new batteries for what Ron told me. And we ran it,
How many miles is that on?
169,000. And, boy, we let it set for 2, he finally took it back, to get it out of here, but it started right up after sitting about a week. So everything seemed to check out great on it now. But my intention was to try to have something for this week, and we thought that other things go on, this is the first for me, so. I'm hoping prior to next meeting, I've got some kind of number, whatever the limit will be.
Remind me what did we get for it?
We'll say it was like 65, 68.
I mean, I'm thinking, if you put a reserve, I don't think much over 25. I don't, 25 is kind of the number that's in my mind. Okay, that's what I was thinking. So I was saying.
maybe we'll get somebody who will see our ad.
Well, we'll have something that y'all will be able to share with anybody you know that might be interested in purchasing as well.
So,
That deal's pretty easy to navigate.
I've got a cousin that's already, maybe he's got something to look at that. Another party, I'm not just going to one, call and contact one, local dealer. So, hangar ground leases, I know in my last report, I've been going through the files looking, and I thought there would be more June. I have not come across any June renewals. July 1 to June 30th is there's a lot of them. So coming up on July, my idea is to get those updated, signed by everybody, get them filed with the city. And then any subsequent month after, there's been a few, started in August, on down the line. And as I come up on those, we'll get those updated with each tenant. Any questions on that?
On hangar leases, the rent, are we on any sort of like yearly increase, CPI or anything on those?
We have not. That's something we probably want to visit
That's
at some
just-
point. And there's annual leases, there's
I would like to look at, I mean, I know no one wants to pay more, but I know our costs are only going up, so that's something I think we can look at. Just
Just
to
have a hangar.
Yeah, I wouldn't be going. I was waiting for something like, a comment like that, but I mean, I think that's probably the only person up here who doesn't have a hangar out here that it wouldn't be a bad idea to at least look at doing automatic CPI on those.
So on the ground leases, I'm one of them. In the past, I always got a notice, I got the mail from the city about the 15th of June or so, that the ground lease was coming due. And we actually go down and sign it for the next year. Or like mine's a 30-year lease, so I don't really have to renew it. But somehow I noticed that, hey, your lease is due for 1 July and 30 June. Is what we need. Yeah, if you don't have copies of the ones, like
Yeah,
ground leases.
there's a few that I have, these files, this is one thing. In the computer, you can spend hours with things in the computer digging around, and that's part of, I don't just want to sit there and dig every day. We've got other stuff going on, but it's just a little bit time consuming, and it'll come together. It's just a work in progress. We've got, leases, way back, they're there, even like 1989, it's been renewed all along. It may not be something down at the city in their files, it just needs a good update.
It is, because you find something and then you don't know if it's the most current one, and then it's quite a task, the organization, I think what Tyson's doing now is getting organized, but we know when we find, we have to look something up, we can find it.
When I was a temporary, they still had my lease for the South Shore, which I haven't had for a while years.
But, yeah, and the city, Amber down there at the city, she's been really helpful too. And I'm trying to, with the billing, getting some of that fuel billing back over here and lightening their load, with quick loads. And that way we're not, because I'm having to call her, this guy paid, we had it. And I can be following up too. It's just quick, but it's so simple.
Come out and play my place. I'm online, I'm making simple.
But it'll speed myself up too. I mean, you bill it that day, don't worry about going back before this meeting and going, okay, charge this person, and getting all that to Amber. And then,
So the process, what you're saying is every time you but the other day, I was gonna pay my bill and I run out of checks. And so I called, normally I pay the city. And instead of out here, I found out I can pay you instead of going down there, which would be a lot nicer. But I have a credit card, and the city doesn't take credit cards, correct?
We're working on that.
Okay, but I can pay Tyson out here for my fuel, which I didn't realize on that.
Yep.
Okay.
And now we're coming into our fuel discussions, cash and checks is better.
Well,
Right.
I gotta run out of checks, that's why I said. Okay.
Anyway, any questions on any of that? And then other items I put in, the Jet A truck, Wayne Wiley, finally got back with him last week. He's gonna have space for it Saturday to finish the door, get we started working on. Got to do a little welding, get the latch put on it, so we're not hanging out to open the door like this anymore. But he'll finish that up Saturday. I'm hoping like 2 to 3 hours of work. We've got a current outstanding bill for some of the other stuff he's done the maintenance work on it. So hoping to get that thing in proper working order. The tetrahedron, that needs a lot of TLC. Spent some time looking it over. Need bearings. We need some new skins, fiberglass skins. And where it came off the pole, it really ripped the metal. So we'll probably have to find a welder to weld it back up right. Thought about maybe even LED lights, if we put LEDs in it instead of the regular lights that are in it. And really just try to fix it if we can. And if it's not, almost think it's almost TKO that knocked out. It's in that rough shape. But I think with the right guy and the right people, and I'll have to help with that with it too. I think we can get a good chance of repairing it and getting it back out there. A lot of people miss that. It's our wind indicator, especially at night. You see it what runway to choose. And if we fix it right, I think it'll last long. Just get it right the first time. I was out here one day and I worked over rig. I think it's been up before, if they didn't come in and say anything. I look out the window and I've got something sticking up over here 112 foot in the sky. So I drive over there and I'm like, hey guys, didn't know you were putting this up right off the end of my runway. Can you at least get a light on? You have a light now, can you get one on there? Yeah, Atlas got one. I think they do. So they got a lit, flashing light, came back, issued a note, and we're good, but I think it's supposed to be down tomorrow or Wednesday, is what they thought. It's that thing go by when somebody come in on minimum weather, go right by the wind to that station. And other than that, what traffic we've had this month, still getting great compliments. We had a guy come through last week in Pilatus after hours, got here about 7 o'clock. I was here late at night, fueled him, got him in the car. He got a room for the night. And he just looking at me like baffled, like, wow, this doesn't happen in any airport. Came back, he wanted to leave early at 7. I said, just leave the car. We'll put the key in the box, safe, get it. Worked like the slick. And got out here and he was gone. I actually got a really good sunset picture of this plane posted on Facebook for advertising, I guess for myself. But sent him the pic. He goes, man, that's a great picture. And we just made a new friend out of it. He goes, I actually pass through there once a month. Going somewhere. He goes, I'll drop in and get the fuel. It's convenient. Works out and stop. So. And I just tell these guys, they said, just keep spreading the word about our airport to your fellow pilots and aviators. And we'll just be the best that's really about it. Anybody got questions?
Can we discuss this?
Well, I haven't heard one complaint about you yet. So,
I think that's coming under the next item.
is that?
That's the next
Oh,
one.
sorry, I'm calling you out.
You're probably right on both accounts.
No, you're doing it.
This first item, fine.
Yeah, that's that.
I did have a question for the manager. In your expenses, you're still paying AT&T $1,000.
That's done, and I didn't include that because I gave them a pretty bad review, and tried not to talk negative about AT&T. But I called them. Couldn't get anybody to return my phone call. We wanted to make sure we were signing up with the proper terms with the shared fiber, that we weren't signing into something outrageous again, so we reduced our bill from basically $700 bucks a month on that one thing to set. By the time we got all that figured out, I said, guys, we've been back and forth, and can you give us a break on March and April? Because we started this in February. And they didn't budge, and I kind of got a little bit upset with them. But it's a phone company, and
And they would, 5 different people sending us emails, and none of them can make a decision apparently, and none of them did, it was difficult.
it was difficult, and I really thought they would work as far as work with us. I mean, this is before I came back. They helped us with a month or two, some of that, but I just said,
We got the lowest option we could get with them, just to get by until, because when Blue Peak comes, and if you're interested in high-speed fiber internet, Blue Peak is having a meet and greet tomorrow down at Alva Beer Company from 5 to 7:30. But City of Alva gets 3 locations for free fiber internet, and we're going to use the airport as one of them. Probably wait till after we're done paying for AT&T and use some free service somewhere else for that period of time. But
they had to do a 1-year deal, so we can have those early termination fees were just outrageous. So it's just better to, but by the time, we still was 1/3 of those by the time we got it fixed, that's frustrating. It is, we got it handled.
We're still primary using Starlink.
And I got a return shipping label box today. Ship back for out there, a little mini connect.
So Starlink, the credit we have with them, they give us $650, that'll start showing up on the recent issue. Oh, you'll make sure your credit card's on file. That's all I'll say.
Any other questions for the manager? Right. Move on to item number 5. Discussion and possible action regarding fuel rates and discounts.
Okay, I'll leave this. And this is just an awareness thing. I'm for helping our local tenants first and foremost in any way I can. And we were able to, like I said earlier in the manager's report, we were able to go through this older fuel and make a pretty good margin as we increased our rates with our competitor like Bluebird, Palm City. We're kind of a hybrid in pricing our fuel because we want to stay with these guys. Don't know what their margins are. But when we get into this fuel, we've already tapped into this fuel, and it's $2 more than what we gave in December. So we got it close to it. I don't know what we want to say with the newspaper, but we were making close to 2 on the fuel that time. But now we're down to, okay, our competition's $5.85. I went up to $5.95. We did split a little bit. They're closer to the border of Texas, so their delivery is a little cheaper than ours. They have a full service price of $6.10, so I went to $1 But my concern is when we give 5% to our tenants, if the price goes up, we went from 23 cents helping our local, now we're at 30. So now our margins are down. And that's when I'm taking the truck down to your hand. We're going the wrong way. We love the trucks that luxury. And I would just like to get that at least back to the prices.
Well,
And that's where I'm at. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel necessarily. It's just a concern. It's just something that I think our margin needs to be back. We're close to making 2. We need to be making about 2 at this day.
Tyson came to talk to me, and of course, we've had these conversations as a board multiple times over the years, and, the board has kind of left that at manager's discretion. However, there have been times when the manager's discretion wasn't great. But I think, we need to make more than 10 cents a gallon.
That's just in this period.
And
Overall, it may wash out to $1, but our inflation is.
so
There's people up north, I'm not trying to cut you off, but there are people at $7 a gallon. There are people that, if I was to just go up, we'd get $6.61 and they would get $5.85. They're stopping over there. They're not coming here at $6.61. And as a pilot, you're looking on the roof, who's got the best deal. And that's part of this where we're at. And that's why I thought, well, I need to put it on here, just at least talk about it. And I'm for, if I can figure out a way to give these guys a 20-cent break here and there.
Well, if it takes 20 cents
Or whatever.
to keep good service, to bring people into the airport, I'm for paying 20 cents for it. All right? In my opinion, I don't know everybody else, but I don't burn the fuel that some of these guys around here burn either.
But we have 4 really active people that now John got a plane there, it's just nice, he might be really active. But
So I got to ask a question here. So if I understand it, last year the board approved locals that are using the charge account in the city of Alva a 5% discount. That's what the board said. And you're saying you want to cap that at 10 cents max, which means guests have to put $2.
we put 10 on here, but I'm just saying,
the challenge
it's forcing me to cap it somewhere, because at dime off the truck, when you gotta replace filters and batteries, and we're working on this jet truck over here, to get it up to snuff. It's just, they're going the wrong way with the fuel truck.
the challenge is, and I think this is important, because we do look at how much we're paying for the fuel, and we do look at what other people are charging. And we set a competitive price in and of itself without a discount. And so, in order to stay competitive right now, that percent discount is a significant portion. It's like 90% of the margin. And so that's where maybe we need to look at a cap on what that discount is, a percentage or this many cents. But I don't know that this draft that's in front of you is a suggestion as much as it's a chance to start putting stuff on paper and trying to figure out what the board can support, because you're the one who's going to get, Tyson will hear it from the pilots, but you guys will hear it too. And we want to be fair to the airport, and we want to be fair to the fuel purchasers to make
So
sure.
what's our percentage breakdown between local pilots and transit pilots? Because they don't get a discount. I would say the transit's buying far more fuel than.
What's that?
The transit's buying far more fuel than locals.
Ish. It depends, so you got CA,
I'm talking about just that.
okay, half.
See, we don't have a charge.
Yeah,
Would it be an
No,
accounting, would it be an accounting nightmare if we set our percent discount based on the margin, like percent of the margin? That would just be a complete accounting nightmare, I would assume. That's what would make sense. It would be the most fair way to do it for our local pilots, but I can see it
See,
being a nightmare.
when it was at $4, we were getting 20-cent discount. So, see,
23, yeah,
23 cents.
460, you're getting 23, and now it's almost 6, you're getting 30.
Well, and I just, before Tyson got back, we had multiple questions and comments during the manager's report regarding how much money are we making off of our fuel, because, the desire to be as self-sustaining as possible and make sure that we're not losing money on fuel. And are we losing any? No. But there's a concern that if we keep using this hybrid model to set on regular rates, that the discount could cause us to.
Or would it be possible to look at the cost of fuel and what the local pilots get is that fuel truck coming to our hangar? And we pay the same as a transit, but the fuel truck keeps coming to the hangar.
That's my deal, like, just at least pay what you get with the truck. We're going the wrong way, we're giving a discount. Instead of 20 cent upcharge for rent.
That's all we got.
See, for everyone at the table here, except for me and Max, you guys are easy to talk about. It's just nobody else here flies airplanes or buys
I
airplanes.
fly airplanes.
But you don't have one here, you're flying. Yet, you don't buy an airplane. Max and I are the two pilots on this board that buy gas weekly, monthly, whatever we're flying.
Well, just because I drive a car, don't mean that I can go into the gas station and complain about the prices one time. That's how I look at it,
We need people giving instead of taking.
Yeah, you
You gotta give, so I did the math, I have a birthday. We're 30 years difference. Okay. By the way, really, 40. But anyway, I want to be at this table at your age, got helping a guy with a manager. I do not want to see an airport like Kyle or wherever you go. There's nothing there. Nobody taking care of it. And I think we've got to do everything we can, because this is expensive stuff. AWOS, when you have something on an AWOS break, call somebody out, could be $4,000 or $5,000. So that is my concern. Just me, I'm a pilot. I don't fly as much as some people. But 50 cents today, or from the 90s, that's what we're making right now. It is on this. And in 2018, I got us to $1 with inflation, and that, to me, that's not enough. But that's just my voice.
You have a same one there, it excludes full service, so you're saying if we get a discount, we have to come to the pump?
That's what that's
That is, slide your card in the pump, because I'm not getting anybody sliding cards. I get 4 or 5 people. That's why we issue the card.
Is that just a charge card, and we don't pay a percent fee when they use that?
It offsets the credit card, because we're open to it. That's another deal
Yeah.
I'm fighting too, is
Because if you're
it's for people to pay cash or check so they don't have a credit, we don't have a credit card. Well, then we have people calling in, okay, I need to square up, and here's my credit card's out of date. Well, the accountant down there doesn't know any different, and now we're even more.
If it's a 5% discount, I say you can't have a credit card, because that's another, what is it, 2%?
No, that's the way it has to be.
2 or 3,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the way it has to be.
Okay, that's
You
how it
can't
is,
take a
okay.
credit card and get a discount. That's what it has. One thing
But-
else is charge it on, take the truck out, more than we were or whatever.
Fuel is staying up over 5 right now. It's 5.03, coming down. I watch the oil markets every day. We get weekly pricing. I'm trying to catch it in the right spot. It's hard to do, just knowing which way it's going. pricing tomorrow, and it was 503. We get 555, so it's come down that much. But I won't even, I'm not gonna plan on adjusting the price. We got to make up the gap. Now, I think we're here to stay for a minute at where we're at. People are like, no, we want to come down. Well, we needed to go, we needed to get back down to where it was.
So out of this fuel sales, and an estimate's fine, but on the monthly fuel sales, what percent do you think that's local? Can you give me, and it, I mean, it could be a guesstimate, I know.
Can we bring that back to you?
Yeah,
Rather than guess, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't even think it's 50%.
it's not 50% local.
You know, I think it's,
Because I mean, I kind of get John's point. I mean, yes, we got to make money, but I mean, the airport is here also to provide a service for our citizens. To be able to have a,
I could be wrong. I'm gonna guess it on that. Yeah, give me some.
I mean, there's two responsibilities of the board that are difficult, both of them. And one is making sure that the revenue is taken care of, and the other is making sure the expenses are taken care of. And they're both of them equally important. And if we're and one of them will cause the other one to be a bigger issue, either way you look at it. And so it's something that's bigger than yourself, an important decision. Yeah, we'd all, I mean, I'd like to not pay so much on my city water bill, but I don't get to, make those decisions. For me as an individual, I got to make them for what's best for the city and the community as a whole, and we got to make those same type of considerations for the airport as a whole. And not claiming that I know what exactly the right thing is to do. I do think that the stuff on that draft there, the amounts and limits and conditions are reasonable, but not to say that those are where we need to land.
When was the last, so the 10-cent max, that would be if gas was at $2 a gallon, is that correct? So when was the last time gas was at $2 a gallon?
Never.
Okay.
97, I mean, when
Yeah.
our gas was 85.
Yeah, okay, that's what I just wanted to get some
It's always generally been, and I think, I don't know, I need to do research too, but it's $1.51 usually in car gas, gas.
So I mean, I definitely want to call it 5% with a 10% max, because I think that's just going to annoy people, you know what I mean? Because it's not 5%, it's just a 10%, it's not that
I
much.
mean, even if it's 2 or 3%, I think just 5 is really heavy. I don't know where we want to land. There's
You
no,
would make it very easy, just make the 20-cent discount, because I don't think you're going to see that gas go $4. And that's your paying patience to your local guys, buy more. Feel like you're appreciated here, I get that, but no exclusion about trust, we've been around that for a long time.
we've circled that.
That's sort of what I can do too many times.
And I'm not here to,
But I'm sitting here looking at this.
I'm not here to raise that.
Right.
Those are,
I got it. And I'm sitting here looking at it, and our ag gas profit was not quite double of the jet fuel.
because of CAA.
Right. But their volume is what keeps it going.
And luckily, CAA gave us 6 cents for 3 minutes. We paid 6 cents. Because of the credit card, they're giving us a little reprieve because of the credit card deal. And there's, and this is just an email I happened to get. I almost clicked believe. I thought this is junk. I read it. I said, hey, I want to take advantage of that 6 cents. So it is volume with the Jet A, and our margins are lower. They just are the way it's set up. And right, CAA is usually about 90% of our traffic. So, I make 51 cents. survival flight. They actually kicked in. I was 75% CAA this month, and 20 for survival flight. I love survival flight, and I'll visit with them, but, you know, there's times we go, you know, we put 6 gallons on it. And it's like, okay, I'm just, you know, it's a great service, and the day before, it's the first one on that. And they run their car, and they get their discount there. Hot, you know, hot feeling's fine, but I mean, I'll even say pulling on the air brakes 2 weeks ago was an option. Now we're using vice grips, so we get that. It's just, those are little maintenance things that happen, and I'm just, you know.
So let me ask this, does the board want to kind of leave it with the manager's discretion and just make sure you guys are aware of what's going on, or does the board want to set those discounts and parameters for him to follow?
I think we need to table it for a month.
It's more of a discussion thing, but I had to bring it because I got to cap it. I have to cap it because we're there on fire.
When I brought this back, because historically, there was a discount for oil pods, and that went away. And this research found out, I kind of brought that to the attention of the board, that why do we do it? And I was actually at it's just a 20 cent, 25 cent discount. They also wanted 1%.
I'm not, and I'm not trying to rough. I'm just bringing it to light. If I can figure out how to make the $1.50, and you guys pay the $1.30, the $1.30 margin and the transit for $1.70, and an average $2.50. That's what I'm trying to get to. Where our guys are getting over it. The solution I haven't quite. This came to me in last week when we were talking about putting the agenda together, and I didn't know what to put on there. This has been hitting me in the last week. Let's talk about it.
And that's what
prices.
Is month going to put you in behind it?
No, they won't.
You want to table it so you can talk to other people?
Yeah.
See what they're doing this time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe
I-
with more ideas come to light.
I think maybe if we got to act on something, maybe we cap it for a month, 20 cents.
Would you like to table this?
I would. I'd make a motion to table this for a month.
Next meeting.
Next meeting. Yeah.
I'll second it.
Second, would you call?
McDermott,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yeah.
Parsons,
Yes.
Kennedy.
Yes. All right, move on to item number 6, discussion regarding the hangar project. Are you leading this, Kelly, or?
Let me get Toby on the phone, but, so if you saw in the online packet, there's a number of questions from, Park Hill. Regarding the hangar project, so, get Toby on here. Hey Toby, I got you on speakerphone with the airport board. We've got all of our members except for Chairman Logston. So, but Dale did send me a text message with kind of his thoughts on things, but I thought I'd let you kick this off and kind of go through your questions and we can get the input.
That sounds great. John, so we can start with the 100 by 100 hangar, and we can move to the smaller one.
Okay?
And basically, some of the things we just kind of want to confirm with the board that we're using, like for example, the hangar door, we're using a door that is desired. There's a couple different options we can certainly recommend. What we've seen work well and perform well on other hangars, and then some things that are strictly personal preference. And what you guys want us to do on certain things. So the first item we had on the list was the hangar door. It's a door that's made by a manufacturer called Higher Power, and it's what I would call a turnover canopy door, such that it kind of pivots such that when it is fully open, it's half in the hangar and half outside the hangar. So not cantilevered, there's not a hinge where the top of the door meets the building, but then it's also not a bifold door. And so there's a little bit of dead space that it takes up when it's in the open position below the framed header, but not nearly as much as on a bifold. And so we've used that on a number of hangars recently. One that I sent you guys in the picture, that was actually in Weatherford, and that's on a slightly larger hangar. That hangar is 120 feet wide by 100 feet deep, and so it essentially kind of has the exact same door that we would recommend for you. But that said, just wanted to see if there were any other preferences or consideration beside that door manufacturer that somebody wanted us to consider.
That was one that Dale weighed in on, and Dale was of the initial opinion that the rolling door would be a better option. So you wouldn't have to open the whole thing with smaller aircraft coming in and out.
What's the cost difference roughly between your high power door and then the rolling multi-panel doors?
So the rolling door is slightly higher. We actually just checked this for a hangar down at Max Westheimer, and the rolling door was just a little bit higher.
Like 10%, 5%?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Like 10%, 5% higher? What's the difference?
I think 10%, I'd honestly have to look that up and see, but we got pricing on both, and it was not significant enough to really sway one or the other. It's just really, like I say, personal preference.
Okay.
We have done far less of the rolling doors on recent projects. Just about everybody has wanted this style of door, but Dale, he certainly makes a point. You wouldn't have to open the rolling door all the way, but at the same time, I think our goal for this hangar is that we're putting jets in it, and so we're going to probably maximize that.
Toby, on the turnover canopy door, can you raise it just halfway?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you can
So-
crack it open. I mean, you can raise your foot if you want.
So I completely disagree with the rolling door, because then you got to keep the tracks clear, from dirt collecting there. And if he's worried about just opening partially, well, you don't have to open the canopy door all the way for something small, like a smaller plane or a tug or something. You just have to open it high enough to clear it.
But I think what he's talking about too is like with the bifold doors like I have, the whole bottom comes up, where even if you're only using 20 feet of it. So you still get the wind blowing through the hangar.
But I would definitely disagree with the rolling door. They just tend to have more maintenance issues.
Well, I have to disagree with you, John.
What's it?
I think the rolling, personally, I agree with Dale on this one. The rolling door, you don't have to open up the whole thing. You can, if you need to move a vehicle or something in there or a small plane, you don't have to open up the whole floor. And
the opening if we use the canopy door, and then roughly what's the width of the opening if we use the rolling door?
So I was pulling that up while you were talking, trying to see if El Reno was the last place we had done that. It is a 5-panel slider.
Does it just go one direction, or does it go both ways?
So you can do either one, but you lose, if you go both directions, you lose a panel width on both sides of your opening. So the downside of a single direction is that you have additional tracks coming into the hangar, so you lose a few feet of depth, because those, each door is on a successive track coming into the hangar.
Yes, exactly.
We got, let's see, El Reno, those are going to be, those are 18-foot panels. Like I said, they've got a 90-foot, their hangar's a little bit wider, but they've got a 90-foot rear door, width on it with 5 panels. And so you got 18 feet of dead space that those have to roll into.
Toby, as someone who's not, this is Joe here, as someone who's not around hangars all the time, like some of these folks are, which door's going to have, and I don't, and this may just be a matter of opinion, but does one have a longer effective life than the other, and as far as like potential problems with the door and maintenance costs, which one's going to be more of an efficient way to go? Is there a way to say that, or not necessarily?
So I don't know that I would have a great long-term comparison of your name. The Weatherford Airport had, we basically built them a second 120 by 100 hangar right next to one that they built, it's probably been 12, maybe 15 years ago. And they have the rolling door on the original hangar, and they asked us to put the higher power door on the new hangar. I personally flown aircraft that were in that other hangar with the rolling door, and I can't say that I'm aware of any, issue with that door as a user that, saw it out of commission or anything. But the airport manager wanted to use this new door, the higher power door, on the new hangar. So I don't know that I have any data that would show one is better than the other long term. Just like I said, some of this is personal preference.
So the rolling doors, I assume, are electric?
The rolling doors are electric, and the higher power door it's got a hydraulic ram arm that actuates the door. So it is also electric, but has a hydraulic pump in it.
Are both doors operate off 110 or 3-phase?
You can do either or. I don't believe there's a performance difference in the 3-phase in having 3-phase for the rolling door, but the cycle time for the door on the turnover canopy is reduced if you have 3-phase power. But I've got airports that have done both. We put them in at the Clinton Airport, and they just have single phase out of the airport, and they have not had any complaints. It's just a matter of flow point you have to pay nearby, which I know you guys have 3-phase right there behind me.
I understand what John's saying with the sliding doors. I understand, I'm talking about 1950s construction here, when I refer to the original doors on the shop down there. Those were sliding doors. My first job as a kid in the wintertime, when we had snows coming down the northwest, and I guess we would go out and shovel that snow away, because it would melt against those doors, we had those cracks and freeze, and we couldn't open those doors up. Now, granted, that was a wintertime problem. But the thing too was, is that if somebody needed to bring like an engine or something in and out, we could only open that door like 5 feet, instead of having the whole thing open, and all that cold air rushing. While we were doing that, we had a small opening to work in. When we put these on, it was because, more for a single person operation, with the thing up and down. And my biggest complaint is if I want to breeze in there, I raise that whole thing up 2 feet off the floor. Everything, that whole wind is blowing across the entire floor at 2 feet, just not in a certain section. So you have to decide, what it is that you want, and what are you willing to tolerate?
Yeah. Oh, there's good and bad.
There is.
Plus and minuses both.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, it's just what,
Just one additional data point, and I'm not, guys, I'm not lobbying either direction. For the one that we did in El Reno that has 5 Bs, that from the face of the hangar inward to the inside face of the innermost door over 5 Bs is 9 foot 4 inches. So you'll lose about 9 foot 4 of space in the front of the hangar because of the door tracks.
so we'll have 91 feet, 90 foot.
I think so.
Will they get other jet in there that we need 90 foot?
Yeah, research.
I think it depends on how high we, answer the next question, on high the floor.
Height is a big deal.
18 or 20, isn't that what he said?
So I think we need to make a decision on number one here before we do the next one. What kind of door? We can tell.
I appreciate that.
So Toby, because I had power lift doors, which, 2 hydraulics, full canopy, open, and I was concerned about, the wind loads, and they're actually really quite high. Do you want to explain, this one's probably even going to have a higher wind load because only half the door is sticking out.
It's the same, it's rated for the same wind loading as the building, which is actually kind of abnormal for a hangar door. If you look at that picture that we have of the Weatherford hangar, you can see there's a truss, basically a sideways truss in front of that door halfway up. And so that provides strength from a sideways wind load perspective. But then when the door is in the open position, that also provides strength from deflection. Like say, a lot of lighter gauge bifold doors when they're in the open position, if you look at the front of the hangar, it's kind of got a smiley face because the door is sagging in the middle. These won't do that because of that truss.
Also, another consideration is with the rolling door, you do have those tracks, those are going to be deep tracks to push the airplanes over. It won't be a smooth transition unless you build little bridges put down on the ground, more work for Tyson.
Well, one of the reasons that we're building a hangar other than the air was so we could get as large a thing in here as we can. And if we go to the rolling door, we start restricting that. Depending on how we go, we start restricting that. And, it'd be nice if we get jet in there, and then if you could scoot into a small, 1 or 2 small airplanes on the other side if you needed to.
Right.
You have that capability.
Great.
As much as I cuss the full door width because of the winds that I have to put up with when I do it, I see that as a benefit as long as if I didn't have a couple small airplanes and we were all putting a jet in, or I'm gonna raise that door up if it created any kind of turbulence for those small planes.
Toby, the Weatherford photo, that's a 120 by 100. How wide is that door there that you have the photo of?
90 feet.
So, and the 120 is the width,
Correct.
so you have 15-foot sidewalls either side of the door then.
And that was by request. They did not see a need to go any wider than 90 feet. You can get those doors wider than 90, but I will just give one word of caution. We've been told there's a contractor out of Edmond called Diversified Construction, and they have been in nearly every hangar project that we've done, and they've probably built a quarter or 20% of the ones that they're one of kind of our usual contractors. And they
sidewalls, what's the minimum width you need, 10 foot?
That's, small enough a job where we maximize that, we basically squeezed every foot out that we could. And from memory to, I'll go get it up here if we're talking, but from memory, to get a 90-foot door, I believe we had to be either 104 or 102 feet total width.
But an 80-foot door with 10 foot either side is doable.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm very confident we can do 80. It's just, I think on the hangar that we wanted to get 90, we had to go just a little bit wider than a 100-foot total building width on the tail.
And I've been adamant from the beginning on this several years ago, that we need a minimum of an 80. The reason being, one of the reasons being, is that we start doing air shows or lines and stuff. We had an opportunity at one point to get the Ford Tri-Motor in here, stuff, and they require a minimum 8-foot door. So you have to hang it. So
What's that big jet that comes in here once in a while, try that free?
Yeah, it's a challenge.
I wonder what the specs are on the wing on it. How tall is it? Is it tall?
I think 22 is where you want to go with height. But you can look at, the height, we can have our aircraft manager go through and check all the different jets that are allowed to land here, and then go with the maximum on that.
So back to item 1.1 here, we need to probably give in some direction on the hangar door side.
So real quick to answer the question you asked on, we had the hangar down in Thomas where they for sure wanted a 90-foot wide door, and we had to bump their hangar a little bit wider and make it 102 feet wide to get the 90-foot clear door opening. So we need a minimum of 6 feet on either side. And if we do that, and just have that 6 feet, we would not put a pedestrian door in the front of the hangar. We need to wrap around the side, which no big deal, put a stoop in the sidewalk, but we'll have some structure there that would not give us enough room to do a pedestrian door on either side if you want to do that. So I said all that to say, I think we can easily get your 80. If you wanted to go all the way up to 88, I believe we can do that as well.
Do we need to do an informal poll?
An informal poll, Toby just needs some direction so he can put a plan together.
So I'm going to go down the line, Tyson. Which door, Tyson?
You go first.
Max. I'll go first. I'm going to go with the canopy door.
This one that's pictured,
Yeah.
I like the panel door.
Panel door. So we're 1-to-1. Joe?
I am simply not knowledgeable enough on hangar construction to have an opinion on this, so, I don't have to pass.
You're abstaining?
I'm abstaining.
John?
I'm sent the canopy door.
That's 2-1. Tyson?
Toby, what's the percentage? Is there a percentage of how many you've done of each one for other airports?
Probably, so anything over 50 to 60 foot, we've been using the turnover canopy with the exception of this one at El Reno, and then Martinsville, we're doing one that you can put a CRJ, Embraer 170 in, and it is so large that we had to go to rolling door. So in the 30 plus hangars that we've done in the past 3 or 4 years, we've only done the rolling twice. And for one reason, that was really because it was the only option, and El Reno's the only one that has done rolling where they could have done a canopy. So we definitely seen more of the canopy, but that doesn't mean the other one's bad. That's just what people are doing.
Right.
And cost would cut in.
So the rolling door costs 10% off. But you get more front open space with the canopy.
Like a canopy.
That's fair.
Canopy's the choice. Right. Item 1.2, the clear opening height.
121 couple more items to go.
So I randomly did, some of you guys probably know this offhand, I don't. You know, like a King Air 200 is almost 15 feet, a Citation 10 is almost 15 feet. A Challenger 350 is 20 feet.
Citation 10 is going to be way over 15.
Really? All right,
Yes,
I'll get the wrong data then on that one.
Citation 2 or Encore Ultra.
I'm sorry, that was 19, that was 20 feet. My mistake.
Well, this Falcon is 25 foot.
According to, and hopefully I
Good with boys, right?
Well, all of them, no.
he says a 900. Tyson,
About Falcon 900.
Yeah.
Is what that is. I've been
I've never seen something that big at our airport.
I don't even know if we can go out. You might be.
I don't know if they ever stayed very long.
That's a big airplane, I can't
Yeah,
get
it's
it.
really good.
We can't go over 28 feet, so we know that we're staying to that.
I haven't seen it land here since I've been back, but I know it was a big plane, and then I think he traded for something else, maybe 1920 around the end of his
Well, a Falcon 2000 LXS is 23 feet.
Yeah, very seldom we have a plane that size in here.
So we're over 20.
We're over 20. We can't go over 28, so.
Now, this is our 5% match project, so, I mean, my theory is, Bill, that you never know what's gonna be here in 20 years. So, you never know what type of, and my economic development thinking is say build it as big as we can, it's only costing us 5%. If you don't know what big business could come here, that their executives may wanna bring their big jet in. But,
So what do you recommend?
as big as we can.
What's your recommendation?
What is the number for,
We can't go over 28.
I would say 26, yeah. I think 26 is good.
26 max?
Yep.
26 John? Your height is 26 feet.
I heard 26. I'm going to interject one thing on the budget.
Sure.
So it's in the back of everybody's mind. The scope of the project is to do a 100 by 100 and also a 60 by 60. The FAA, we can use the FAA funds to provide 55% of the total project cost. We can use the EAA funds to provide 40% of the total project cost with a city match of 5%. But the limiting factor to that is going to be the FAA funds. And at some point, those FAA funds are going to be exhausted. We have $797,000 of FAA funds. So on the 5-year CIP, we are currently showing that the city is going to have greater than a 5% share because we're going to exhaust the FAA funds. Once the FAA funds are exhausted, from that point forward, the city is going to have to bring 60% of the funding to the table. The ODAA will continue to bring 40, but the city is going to have 60. I say all that to say, well, yes, we could absolutely build the Taj Mahal with just 5% on the 100 by 100 hangar. Every dollar that you save on the 100 by 100 saves you 60 cents towards what you're going to need to bring to the table for the 60 by 60. So just not trying to talk anybody out of anything, just kind of, there is a little bit of a balance there.
That does change special.
So, Toby, the largest ship I have seen here was a G500, Gulfstream G500, and it's 25. That's the largest one.
Your pavement does not support a G500. You have 6-inch concrete, it requires 12. So we would, if you told me to design a hangar for a G500, we would need to do a substantially thicker slab in the hangar than the apron pavement immediately out front of it. So
I'm not talking about a 550, I'm talking about a 500, right? Anyway, it's 25 foot 6 inches. That's the biggest jet I've seen here, and it was one time.
Another one was a Falcon 2000.
2000, it's a lot smaller.
Toby, give us a rough idea, a rough estimate percentage-wise in price difference between a 22-foot opening or a 26-foot opening on the hangar.
I I can't do that from the head guys. There's no way. I'd have to work with local door manufacturers to try to come up with that. But the G500, back to that for just a second, that's got a max takeoff weight of almost 80,000 pounds. And yes, it is 25 feet tall, but the length is 91 feet, the wingspan is 86. So I don't know
It's
if
not
that,
gonna fit. Yeah.
that shouldn't be our design parameter.
No, but we're talking about one that are smaller, just comes with all.
Right.
Maybe someone not be able to fit in there.
Well, I mean, if we spend too much money here, we're gonna have to spend more of our nest egg on the next one, then I'm okay with 22 feet. Whenever it's 5% match, use it all. If that's not the case, it's a whole different discussion.
What is remind me what's the funding maxed out at, Toby, for a 5% match? I didn't bring it with me, but I had.
Structural engineering can never be public mass.
Well, I'll talk while you're thinking, but
Yeah, I'm working on the math here real.
it stands to my memory that we were budgeting to do about $450,000 on the hangar.
443 is what we showed your match to be on the CIP, but that has 357,000 and change of over and above. We've exhausted the FAA funds. So we would have a budget of 1.7 in order to keep the city at a flat 5% match. For the airport, 5%.
But that 400 and whatever, that included us going above the 5%.
That includes,
That includes 357, almost 358,000 of you going above the 5%, yes. So with that said, if our estimates are right and you've budgeted the 450, then you have what you need to do both hangars. But and that may be fine. At one point in time, you had tasked us to keep it as close to your 5% match as we possibly
Yeah.
could.
that's
I
correct.
just don't think that's going to be a.
We still want you to do that.
Well, I know that. That's why I'm bringing it up. So,
Now tell me,
and this is not, by no means, do you have to do anything like any other airport, so I'll be really careful. But I will tell you on the 130 by 90 that we did at El Reno, they used a 22-foot clear door opening. And the reason I would compare you to them is you both have 6-inch concrete pavement. So you and they can land equal size turbine aircraft.
Then that's a problem. What Woodward
But
did, what was Woodward's?
I don't know the answer to that.
What was the purpose, why are we building a 60 by 60? Someone refresh us.
Survival. It'll load pits for survival flight and local mine and another hangar up for another transit.
So if we revise our door height, what would you guys go to?
22 or 24. 22 or 24 would be,
Which one would you lean to?
what, 22 are the same as everybody else, so there's no advantage, no disadvantage. I would say if you had it.
What was the Falcon that you say has been?
Falcon
I mean, if there's
2,000.
Falcon 2000, is that a fairly routine custom?
No.
No.
I guess is there anybody that we know of that you feel like they told us, boy, if you had a hangar, we'd overnight here, but we don't because you don't have a hangar.
Well, we have, a past airport manager said that, but I'm not really sure what airplane he was referring to when he said it.
Okay.
Tell you the truth, Toby, most of them, because CA jets, which is the majority of our traffic, are private owners only. They can't be 135 jets or corporate, but they can't be 135s. Like, it can't be any of the fractionals. That's 80% of our jet fuel cells. And most of those are, a lot of them are owner flown or it's legal to land it out.
Did a lot of PC-12s.
Yeah, PC-12s and
Right.
TVMs.
Yeah. PVM.
So you good with 22?
And you said El Reno did 22?
El Reno did 22, but we look at one more, we're going to see what the,
You okay with 22
and
minutes?
Thomas.
Yes,
Actually, no, Thomas, I think we went with 20,
I think,
Let's revise it to 22 feet high.
22, okay?
Your sidewalk and building.
That's consensus. Like John said, a 22 by 80 opening.
Okay, 22, right. And just for terminology, anytime we talk about the opening, the way we put it on the drawings, that is the clear
Yeah.
opening. So the door will actually hang down in that a little bit. Therefore, the framed opening will be a little bit greater than 22, but we will have a true 22 by 80 opening when the doors in the open position.
Okay? Let's go to item 1.3, vinyl wrap or spray foam insulation.
okay, I've got, along with that, the spray foam insulation seals a lot of air leaks, even, and over and above, so I'm definitely in favor of that, what is that, closed cell foam?
Mhm.
Closed cell foam, as far as insulation. On this hanger here, and I'm just going by the way I've got my shed set up. If we open this door, can we put in a 12 or a 14-foot overhead door on the east side of that building so that we could drive a truck in there if we needed to, or have ventilation coming through that hanger? Because if you just got your hanger one door open, you can't get any ventilation through it, even if the wind is out of the north or the south or whatever. So I would suggest figuring in a 12-foot or 14-foot overhead door into it as ventilation.
We, so the one that we did at Thomas does have a door on the back of it. You guys are close enough to the road there. Is that something that we need to have our contractor build the driveway all the way out to the road? Or do you want us to just kind of put a pad outside of it and we'll connect the dots in the future project?
There's already a road there, isn't there? There's already a road there, it'd just be a little pad into it.
I think we're okay.
Yeah, I probably need to look and see what the distance from the back of the hangar to that road is going to be. That's,
This hanger here is 80 by 100.
Okay.
So it's 80 this way, so you're going to be, it depends on how far back you set it back with this hanger.
Okay.
If we eventually
we
want
plan to put the face of this hangar even with the one to the south.
Well, and really, we don't have to even have anything come to it. I'm talking ventilation anyway. So it
I'm
just,
not arguing with the premise, I'm just making sure we capture what we want us to do and what we provide in plans, that's all.
she's on like a 12 by 12 board now.
yeah, just something big enough that we can drive a semi into it if we needed to unload it.
Like a 12 by 12 door on the east side with 3-inch track.
You said 12 by 12, but then you also said semi.
14.
Want to go a little taller than 12?
Yeah, you need to go at least 14 to be able to back a semi in there.
13.6, semi.
13.6 is
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
normal road overhead heights.
Yeah. Yep.
So 14 by 14 is
But mainly start out with just ventilation. What?
I think, Toby, the way to go is a 14 by 14 roll-up door or whatever
Yeah.
with a apron on the outside. And whether we connect the road or not, you do need an apron.
Yeah.
You know, concrete.
I agree on the apron for sure. Okay, so I've got a 14 by 14 overhead door on the east side with an apron. And what we had done, we can do the roll up, like a coil door, but the other thing we had done is just have a straight track, just go straight up the wall because we
That spray foams, that closed cell spray foam is what I'm voting for.
And Cody, correct me wrong, the spray foam actually strengthens the building inherently too.
Not to an extent that we account for that in the structural design, but I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I don't think there's any credit for that in the structural design.
Well,
But other than,
I've closed cell spray foam in every building I have, and it's amazing stuff.
It's
And
nice.
The cool factor and the R factor is higher than the vinyl fiberglass.
And it seals all those little air leaks.
I've got it written down, I haven't heard anybody say yet, so I'm gonna assume you have.
I would assume that would also include, while they're in there and everything's covered, that they would paint it white.
So it has to have an intumescent coating on it, that's code. And so if you have exposed, spray foam, it has to be painted with an intumescent coating.
Okay?
So everybody agree with that on spray foam?
Absolutely.
All right.
This is vinyl sash.
All right, item 1.4. Liner panels.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Everybody agreement on that? Liner panel then.
Yes, absolutely.
1.5, a small restroom and/or storage room in the back corner. I think
So let me pause on that for just a second, because Kelly, when I sent you this, I was kind of rattling through my list of typical questions. But before the meeting, I kind of went back and looked at our contract and how we scoped everything out. And in that, in our contract, it says the buildings will be insulated and will include blockouts for future installation of water and sewer utility in the building will not be part of the initial project.
right.
Design and extension of the water and sewer utilities to the hangars will be by and I think part of that was a function of the hopeful ODA project to extend water and sewer. So all that said, we can plan where that's going to go. We can do blockouts anywhere that we anticipate building that out in this project.
And that's the way I recall it too.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Plummet for,
We're going to plumb it for the bathroom and stuff, but not build it out this time.
right, that makes sense.
Okay, to answer your question on that one?
Yeah, I'm going to put rough in plumbing or restroom. Or single restroom.
Okay, so item
And
1.
we'll just put that back in the corner, kind of like we had shown with the picture, correct? Here, 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
1.6, add addition of pedestrian door to the front west face of the hangar. So on and so forth.
Say that again, Paul.
Adding pedestrian doors, walk-through doors. You want, do you think we need a total of 2? They could both be on the west side, but I think we need at least one on the east side.
I would for sure put one back by your overhead door.
Yes.
You'll need to have it.
Okay.
Yep.
So you have to do 2, one on the west, one on the east, if you want one on the north side, so if all the doors are closed and you want access to doors to the terminal, whereas the one on the west side close enough to come to the terminal.
You've got to walk out.
I put the west side on the north end.
North corner, northwest corner.
So west face, north end, and then east face adjacent to overhead door.
Yeah. That's what the heads are nodding at.
I will have our architect double check the egress requirements. If we have to add a third one on the southerly side of the project, do you have a preference for where it would go?
Southerly side, that's right next to Kenzie's building, that doesn't do any good.
They probably still on the west face, I think.
Or the north,
Okay,
right here, so you walk out the door to the terminal.
Yeah, you want it on the.
You want it on the north side.
So you
well,
just,
hang on a second, we're definitely gonna have one on the west face at the north corner of the building.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll for sure have one there. Then we'll have one on the east face next to the overhead door. And I just need to check, there'll be a maximum travel distance that we have to account for. If
say do it
I'd
on the
say,
west face, on the concrete, on the apron,
yeah,
Okay.
west face,
if you have to have
if
it.
you have to have it.
Because the
Right.
south is
Okay,
gonna
that
go,
is it's required.
the south's gonna go right into Kenzie's building.
Now, do you want that roll-up door on the east end to be in the middle of the building or over in a corner?
I think we should offset it.
I do too. I think it's always,
That roll-up door on each side should be offset to a corner.
like to the northeast corner.
Yeah,
Opposite the bathroom,
opposite the bathroom.
The only, and we do whatever you guys want, the only comment that I would have on that is in like Weatherford's hangar, for example, when you're talking about having a couple of like 500 series citations, the smaller citations, typically the tail ends up towards the corners. If you got multiple in there, you're not usually pushing a smaller jet right into the center of it unless that's the only airplane in there. And I don't know if that changes your thoughts on it or not. I mean, I'll do it however you want.
Well, if you put that door in the northeast on the east side, and the northeast on the east north end, then you could plumb the bathroom just to the south of that, couldn't you? Does the bathroom have to be in the corner?
Yeah.
It does?
I certainly would, yeah.
Okay. Well,
But the northeast overhead with the wind prevailing, that does create that flow through that you were looking for.
So,
Why couldn't we put that bathroom like in the east side of, or on the north side of the hangar? In the side, on the north side? Does it have to be in the back of the hangar?
If you have any kind
it
of
doesn't
restrictions.
have to be, but you've already got two walls. You've got two walls already done for it. That's why that's typically done.
Oh, that's why.
You're stacking everything.
Okay, I'm going with you guys on this, I'm done.
So back to the overhead, push the overhead door towards the north end of the east wall and put the restroom in the southeast corner.
Yes.
That would be correct.
that's what I'm hearing.
I would do it that way.
Okay.
Because the other thing, Toby, is if they're up on the west end of the building, they're only going to be 20, 30 feet from the terminal. So, yeah, why wouldn't you?
Okay, 14 overhead door on the east side, toward the north end with an apron, roof and plumbing for restroom in southeast corner. The only other thing that I can think of that might come into play on pushing the door towards that end is that's gonna be where the roof line is the lowest.
Yep.
So if we got a 14-foot door that's going straight up, we're gonna need 28 feet there. Probably won't have 28 there, so I may need to play with that. We can have the track turn inward once it gets up
Yes.
below the. We can make that work. We just probably continue the straight up and down track.
You kind of like that, you have a half track door might, not half, a third of the door might go on.
Yeah.
But it's in the current kind of way.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Good.
All right, are we done with the 100 by 100?
I thought you had one more question on that, Toby.
Yeah, now I've forgotten what it was.
I've got it. Radiant tube heating.
Yep, that's it. Is there a desire to try to do that now, save the money, add that later?
I think that's something, that's a luxury we can do without at this point.
This is my feeling on that. I don't know what the cost is, but have you ever bought something for, say, a lawnmower or a car or something, and you said, another $600, I can have this option, but I need to save this money. And you drive it for about 3 months, you say, boy, I wish I'd bought that option. And that's all the thing about it, if it's gonna save 20%, if you put it in right now, I'd say let's put it in right now if the cost is not terrible.
I think we need to see what the cost is
Yeah.
for grading it. I've never even seen that cost for that.
Can you do that as like a alternate?
Yeah, we sure can. I was looking for a bid tab. I think we've only got one project where we have actually did that as a standalone item. So while we're looking to these others, I'll try to get that pulled up. But yes, we can do rating heating as an alternate.
Okay.
Either way, that one you got posted for.
Any other on this, Toby?
Nothing else on the big here.
All right, let's go to the 60 by 60. Item 2.1. Talk about we already talked about that cost. So down to 2.
Yeah, that was just to kind of orient everybody to the budget approach.
Understand. So 2.2, we're planning to use the slice bifold door on the hanger. Is that a steel or an aluminum slice door?
It's steel. And then the ones that we spec now have, which some twice have been around for a long time, but the ones that we've been doing have the nylon straps. There's a photo in, I think, in the packet that showed that.
Yep.
And they've got a really long track record.
Yeah, they're good.
They're good.
Everybody's happy with
Oh,
that
they're very
decision on the
good.
slice door? All right, you're good to go on that one.
Can we pause for just a second on the radiant heating? On a project we bid in February 2023 at the Enid Airport. We had, it was a 120 by 120 hanger, so slightly larger. And we had an alternate for tube heating, radiant tube heating. And interestingly, the contractor that won the bid that was lowest overall, they bid $91,000. And the second, the next higher bidder was actually lower on that one item at $67,000. So it's, and I'm not trying to talk you out, we can still put it in there to decide if you want it or not, but it is probably not going to be a $10,000 or $15,000 item.
I understand.
I can tell you that right off the bat.
Okay.
I understand, all right.
Okay.
We need to keep it moving here, we're dragging out.
So we agreed on slice, correct?
Yeah.
Correct. So we're at 2.3.
Let's see, that's pedestrian doors.
Location of the pedestrian doors.
So the slice door itself will have a pedestrian door built into it. From a code standpoint, the travel distance isn't such that we would have to have a second pedestrian door, but if you want one, you just need to know where you want.
You want to have it wherever the parking is going to be when they drive to it, which is
I
probably on
don't
the
know
south
if there's
side.
going to be,
I was thinking. You might, parking will probably be on the south side of that structure, so we might want one on the south side.
south side, okay, towards, since we don't necessarily know how a future build-out might go, we want to kind of move it towards the westerly face, or it's the south side, but towards the west end.
Sure. This building is.
That way we don't impede something they try to build out of the back of an hangar if they put 3/4, or, I mean, I realize that's a whole other discussion.
Right. You know, we want box hangers at the south end of that road, box hangers.
Okay.
With the west door, so they can have that right up.
Okay,
Okay.
that work for you then?
South face towards west.
Yep.
I got one quick question. On that slice door, how much would, if we didn't have the door in the bifold door, but have it in the building itself and around the corner, would that change a whole lot? The reason I say that is having to step over that door every time you go in, you gotta step over it.
The slice door comes built for right.
Huh?
The slice door comes built with the lock through door.
it's already in
It's
there?
already in there.
Oh.
So that's not an option.
Oh.
The only thing we can do is just take down panel over.
Well, I
I mean,
can,
it's already there.
okay,
So
now,
all we're doing is just adding another door on the south side.
we can do that anytime we need to, if we have to.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So we're up to 2.4, the insulation of the roof to prevent condensation. We have a preference on the type of insulation used under the roof. You guys want to?
Why don't we just spray foam the whole building?
Yeah.
I would say if you're gonna have a spray foam subcontractor there, I'd go both the same, but that's,
I'll go with that.
Yeah.
That's one of those options.
Right, everybody?
just to clarify something on that, so my intent, what we have normally done, for example, that hanger that, you know, picture of with the swipe store, we typically just do the roof, and is that what we want, or are we wanting to insulate the whole?
At this
Dale is saying in his text to me, to insulate the whole thing.
But we're not, this isn't 5% money anymore, this is 60% money, correct?
Yeah.
For this, so I say we've got to be a little bit more economical.
I'd say we do the whole thing. This is the time to do it, personally.
The only reason you might not is because there might be build outs. If that affects the need of build outs, you might have to dig some way, but then it bother you.
Yeah, that's easy to do.
Yeah.
You do it all the time.
I get around that.
Okay. So it's just, this would be the time to insulate the whole thing and make it a real deal. My opinion. But I want to know the cost. I want to know the cost.
They would, well, this is, we'll know the cost of this was we can afford to build this building.
That's right.
So they want to spray foam the whole thing.
Entire envelope?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that leads me to a question that's not on the list. If we do that, are we gonna do a liner panel all the way around?
I would do the liner panel, I would do it at this point if there's potential of them building offices and stuff inside like they talked about if this deal goes through.
See, and is that what Dale's talking about here, an interior wall panel?
I believe so, yeah. That would be mine. I mean, that's how I would interpret that.
And Dale's saying 12-foot minimum, or no, he's saying 12-foot minimum door height. That interior wall panel would be preferred, is what Dale's saying.
And so normally we just do that interior wall panel up to the first skirt, which
Right.
depending on the building, usually 7 or 8 feet.
Yeah, because you're using, don't they usually use just 8-foot, 26 gauge, it's real flimsy stuff.
The interior is usually 26, yes.
Yeah.
I think the roof, I'd have to look at our roof, maybe 24.
Yeah, we're just talking about the wall panel, because basically it saves the wear and tear on your spray foam, people punching stuff through it. I have it in my shop for welding protection, all the way around.
Well, I can show you, or I can tell you about a building that burned because they had a little fire and it burned the whole thing up because of
Because it
the
didn't have
foam.
panels.
Huh?
Because it didn't have.
It didn't have panel, and that foam, is flame retardant when it's new, but after about 10, 15 years, it's not. And I don't know that it was closed cell foam, but it was my dad's shed, and there was.
Those interior wall panels, it's not a very expensive item to do, but it gives you a lot of protection.
Yes. I know I'd do it if it's mine, if I was going.
So spray foam the entire envelope with a liner panel, correct?
Yep. That's what the consensus.
And, sorry, I kind of apologize, I was getting down to that next item. I think we've already covered the next item.
All right, so we're down to 2.5 about just building the shell of the building. And build out responsibility of the tenant.
And then, well, I kind of have liner panel on that item, and I kind of go to the road with the last item.
Does anybody else have anything on talking about on that item?
Now,
2.4.
is this
2.5.
Is this picture, Is that a picture of, or is that just at the Swice store?
Just as like.
Okay, I was gonna say, there's no cable to it. Okay.
This, yeah, so that multi-unit hangar is all sloped to the back. So I was just wanting you to see the slice board.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
So, we're on 2.6.
we're up to 2.6 now. Height, clear height of the door when it's open.
Dale says 12 foot minimum.
So, you make the assumption that there never will be anybody that's qualified here.
I'm making no assumptions.
Yeah.
Just repeating what Dale said is a minimum.
Right, but if you want to hang that size to fit a twin aircraft, you need 16 foot. They usually require 14 foot.
I concur, because I went and checked some heights to get some airplanes in. And I think we need a minimum of 16 feet on that as well.
16.
16. And we'll maximize that. I'll have to look. I know we can get 56. We might be able to get a little bit wider than 56 on that 60-foot building, but I think it's probably going to be a 56.
What, 56 by 16 clear?
Yeah.
That's,
Clear, yeah.
That's-
16 clear.
that,
And the door, I mean, I'll get everything we can on the door.
See, that fit a King Air 200 in there.
or almost any twin.
Would?
Yeah. If you have that size open, it's a King Air 200. And it would fit a Cessna 208 as well.
Pretty tall. You said it does fit a 200?
200 King Air,
You know, about a three-
not the 350. 350,
That's tall.
no, 350 wingspan's too wide.
Plus, I don't see there's going to be 350s that are going to be based here.
Well, you know, some EMS groups use those.
No. Yeah, but they, you could fly 290s or 250s because you're not going to be tired.
Right. And then and looking at helicopters,
Go ahead.
most of the rotor spans are about 45 feet or less.
Yeah,
The only comment I would have on the King Air 200 is I think the wingspan's 54 and a half. And I don't know about you, but pushing a 54 and a half to a 56-foot hole would not make me very happy.
More help. No problem.
They
I think you
push
should
their-
be getting 58 out of it.
That would be the absolute maximum. I've got to check with structural to see if we can do that. Because you will end up having to set 2 columns there.
Right. Right.
We'll have to have 1 column right at the door and then the second one. So it's just how much space you're looking to take up. We'll maximize and get absolutely all we can. I'm confident we can get 56. I don't know if we can get all of it. Not that that matters. I just wouldn't necessarily. If you have a King Air on tap for tomorrow, I would suggest we change the dimensions of the hangar.
We do not.
Okay.
Let's try some of those. We don't.
54 and a half.
I don't know.
And a height is 15, and if it's 16 foot, we're good.
16 clear.
Clear. Yeah.
16 clear. Every time I give you a hangar door height, it is always going to be the clear distance when it is in the open position. So for the slice bifold, we'll actually end up, our framed opening will be even another 3.5 or 4 feet above that. Because the bifold does hang down in that opening quite a bit more.
Now, tell me the next question. Why would you go the slice versus doing a power lift door that,
So we got
we put it on as an alternate?
The reason I say that is because your clear height, you don't have to have another 3 feet, it's not a bifold. And also, if it's gonna be on the west side, it's built so you also get extended shade. I know that's what my farm is.
That's pretty nice if you went out today with it.
It would have been really nice today.
So that means the pad had to be up there.
Is that something?
Unless,
To help the landing, they could look after, out from landing, we should do more again.
Yeah, you have to be clear about 6 feet from the door as it swings up. But if they're not gonna land that close anymore.
You'd be surprised. So look after people.
I was just wondering if that's an option they would look at, because your free clearance, you don't have to go as high, because it's already basically built. You don't lose any clearance.
no, I see what you're saying. I don't know anything about their wind blowing, would be the only thing, but like I said, it's not something we have ever used. But we can certainly, if that's what you guys want, then we can talk with manufacturing, use that.
Do you give it as an alternate, an option?
The problem, well, so I would hesitate to put it in as an alternate because it's going to change the whole building. So then the building manufacturers have to price out two completely separate buildings.
Right, but you won't have to build the structure to hold the door in the building. The structure comes as a freestanding structure. You just have to build the opening to their specs.
Yeah, which, no, I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I'm just saying, you said as an alternate,
I got you.
the door opening, the frame opening is going to be different
Yes.
for the two different types of doors. And so I would say, I'm not opposed to using that if that's what you guys want, but I would say we commit to one or the other so that I'm pricing out two completely separate building packages depending on the door we select.
What do you want, Tracy?
I like the original.
Slicer, yeah, slicer true, they're tried and true.
Max, you have a preference?
I like the Swice. I've had one for 20 years, and it's been a good one.
You have a preference, Sean?
No, I was just going to ask about that option, because you
I don't,
can almost get easily 58, but there's not 59 on the sides with those ones. Because you don't have to build a structure. Yeah, we'll say it's twice then.
They're gonna stay with Swice.
Okay. Can we talk a little bit about the landing pad out in front? Because the way we had this initially sketched out, which doesn't mean anything, we basically put where a standard taxiway should be the proper distance from the face of the hangar. And essentially, that takes our concrete out to 52 feet from the face of the hangar. That's not to say we're married to that. That's how we were designing this hangar for an airplane to taxi up to the front of it. That is how we would do that. But is there any additional consideration that we need to take if you're going to have a helicopter landing there? Bearing in mind that you're likely paying for 60% of that payment.
I would say Tyson could keep with Alva with Jacob or any cost, who's going to find that out and get that back to you pretty quick.
They were, and I'd say if we can get some numbers on that, I think that potentially survival flight could kick in.
Okay. Yeah, Tyson, I guess, just to, if they were to, we have that one hangar, the southmost box hangar up in group of three there, that, pretty much has pavement all the way out in front of it right now. If they were to land right in front of that hangar, how much pavement would they need? Would that be kind of a test?
I'm just going to tell you, they're not going to land in that enclosed area. Too much can go wrong.
Right.
They would land out away from the box or in front of their own hangar.
Vietnam guys came back, they didn't do anything. They can set those things down wherever they want.
Okay.
So what, where's that leave us? Do you want us to build it 52 feet out like we would for an airplane, or where we need to?
Well, here's my line of thought, is maybe that is an alternate to spec it out 52 feet like you would for a regular aircraft, and then the alternate would be for helicopter.
So you go about 52 feet and then curve and connect with the current taxiway?
Yes, I'm gonna, Kelly, I don't know if I can text you a picture that would be worthwhile, or, but I guess you can send it out.
I can email everybody, yeah.
Okay. I'll send you what we have it drawn up right now, but again, we can change this, but this, I'm trying to think ahead of someday helicopter's not in there, you would have the pavement necessary for an airplane to make the turn to the south and pull up to the so it's just a function of do we want to add or beyond that to the west.
Same line,
I'd say as an alternate, anything that would be added on as an alternate, and then we can look at it from a cost standpoint.
Is that something Tyson asked them what that additional beyond 52 feet would be, or how do we work it? Yeah, and the reason I ask is, I mean, none of the standards for a helicopter landing pad are going to be met. I mean, we would need to be a long ways away from the hangar if we were to follow a standard. And I'm not saying that we need to, but I can't design to the standard, so I need to know how much the operator actually
Let me get with them and see.
Tyson will email you that.
Okay.
None of your points included, but I think we need stub out for plumbing.
Yes, that building we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, same as the other ones, what we're planning to.
Yeah.
That's what our scope plan is.
Okay.
The only other thing that Dale had on his list is that the electrical might need to be upgraded above bare minimum to accommodate it, maintenance.
Kelly, they're gonna have 230, 50 amp boxes just for the door.
I'm just reading what Dale said.
That's a little close to this project too.
We would never put less than a 200 amp service on them. Is there any thought that they're gonna need something beyond the 200 amp, 12240 service?
No, I think they want to be on right air conditioning. That's what I think they want to do.
Well, and they're probably used to CNT hangers that have 141 light bulb in the back corner and nothing more, so I mean, I understand your.
Yeah. If you're gonna put a 200 amp box on the building, then that's perfect.
We're good. Does that fix you up for this evening?
I think it does. I guess the only question, and this could probably be changed during construction, but do we know if we would want the restroom roughed into the northeast or the southeast corner?
What's nearest where your pipes run? What would you suggest?
Southeast.
Well, if it's east, either way, it'd be fine.
Okay.
Exactly.
So
I just didn't know.
If we have a south walk-in
We can
door,
show it in one corner, and then ultimately, if they decide they want to frame it out differently, we can move that during construction.
I'm saying if you're gonna have an additional south walk-in door, then the bathroom and stuff and whatever else they wanna build in the southeast corner.
Southeast corner, okay. Got it. I think the only open-ended thing that I need is just the distance of concrete beyond 52 feet.
I'll be talking to them tomorrow anyway.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
that's all that I needed. Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Toby.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Okay, review item 7, remarks and inquiries from airport commissioners. Everybody done?
Yeah.
Meanwhile. Hey, Jimmy.
He's not.
Oh,
Remarks and inquiries by citizens.
Jimmy, that's you. Thought I recognized you.
Sorry to be like a creep in the corner guy, so. My name is Jimmy Riley. My company's Tank Painters from Woodward. Known you for a while now. We did the painting work on your round top hanger here. We priced this building for a long, long time, guys. It's been needing to be done for forever now. Yeah, we're talking about this hanger over here. So I guess I'll go over that. I just want to introduce myself, kind of talk about that and things. We've done painting for a lot of guys around here on a lot of buildings, pipe fences, barns, anything you can imagine. The first thing that we need to do to that, I want to pass these out to everybody. It's really going to explain everything, and I'll go over everything too as well. And then I hope people got two of these. We have to pass these around too. But it just needs to be steam cleaned. And what I mean by that is, so imagine a 5,000 psi pressure washer, but it's actually heated steamed water. If you rub your hands across that building, the sides of it and the roof, it's going to come off with nothing but chalk all over your hands. The reason for that is because just an old building, it's got a lot of built up dirt and things like that on there, and then that's going to make the paint apply correctly. The type of coating we'll be using is a one flash coating. Now, whenever we talked a while back, John, on the hangers, you were mentioning replacing every single screw and nail and things like that. And, in reality, that's just not, it doesn't make economic sense, to be real with you. It's going to take a ton of time to do that.
Yeah, I know some.
Mm-hmm. So that one flash product, now what it is, when I buy it, if I go to the store and buy it, it's about $380 for a 5-gallon bucket of it. It's extremely expensive paint. But what we're going to do too is, every nail head that's in the roof, we're going to take what's called a sausage gun, and essentially every nail head that's on the roof, this coating is going to be on top of there really thick on every single nail head, along the seam lines, along the ridge cap, everything like that, so that it does reduce the leaking over time. It has been going on for a long time to it. Afterwards, we're going to be putting a elastomeric roof coating, which is the same kind of coating we used on your round top over there, with 2 coats of it. It actually helps with R value and things like that over time as well. But it's white in color. The other stuff can be gray or white in color. For this project, we use white because the roof would be white and the sides would be the color that we were talking about matching on the other building down there, I believe. So we'd be painting the sides using Sherwin-Williams paint product. It's called Super Paint. It's a paint and primer in one, complete primer coat beforehand and then a top coat afterwards, using the color you guys picking. Total paint and labor on this project, I actually reduced the price quite a bit. We were at $34,500, I want to say, a while back whenever we talked. I was told there was another bid that hadn't got. Whoever it was or whatever it was, they were only going to do the roof. We're going to do the roof insides, and it's a far superior product to what they're using. But yeah, that would get you guys looking really good out here. We'd love to do it for you. Just wanted to introduce myself. If anybody has any questions about it or anything like that, I would be happy to answer them.
What kind of coating do you use on Gary's building? The silver?
Yeah, on Gary's building, that was just aluminum asphalt paint. So like Steggs, the stuff that just got done over there, we didn't do that. I don't know who done that, but it's a very similar product to what they used on the roof. And I told Gary this a while back too. It's not a good product for like what you were wanting done. His deal was a whole different thing. Your product was a far superior product to that. But yeah, Gary, he told me he wanted that color. To be honest, I try to avoid it. It's a cheaper paint. That paint comes from Kentucky, and it's not a great quality paint. But everything that we'd be using on you guys' building is a Sherwin-Williams paint product. So it's a top of the line quality paint. And then that one flash stuff it's really unreal. Like it would be like no kidding. Like if I open a 5-gallon bucket of that paint, it only has a shelf time of about 4 or 5 hours. So you open that, if you don't use it all in about 4 or 5 hours, it's like concrete. So that's why it's
so expensive of a product for me to buy and us to use. And it really is going to do a great job with all those nail heads and things on you guys' roof out there. That rusty part that you can see from the highway, it's not a huge section of the roof. I want to say maybe it's about a 40-foot section. That will be coated with specialized epoxy primer to those areas. The whole roof isn't like that. It's just that one kind of specific part. But it obviously garners a lot of attention, from the highway. But it will be heavily coated as well. But yeah, I mean, again, just wanted to introduce myself and kind of throw my name out there. I knew some of you guys, but some of you guys didn't know me, and I wanted to explain myself.
Yeah. He came by earlier, and we'll just stay for the meeting and explain this a little better than I can.
Yeah, well,
I did have Steve's guy come by and just look at it. They were kind of fly by night, and it wasn't a perfect quote compared to his. They were just going to do the roof, not the sides, for like $11,000 less than this quote. And I don't know that they had the best. I don't know if that was the best job after talking to me.
What kind of warranty do you have on that?
Yeah, it's on our page right there. It explains that. But what we offer is a 4-year warranty. The only reason why I say 4-year warranty is because if you look it up on Sherwin website, that's all they say too. So, at the end of the day, we just use their product. We can't guarantee anything past that just because of that reason.
Yeah.
But it's going to last you a lot longer than that. This one flash is incredible stuff. I mean, like I said, it's almost $400 a bucket to buy it. And it's going to take a lot more than 5 gallons, so you can do the math there. I mean, that's a big building. I think it's 155 by 50, something like that. When I did the measurements a while back, it's around that area. So you've got 8,400, 8,500 square feet roughly in that building. And I was talking with a guy a while back when I did take the measurements. I forget his name, but he has a hanger out there, and he actually has the hanger that is where that big rust spot is at, kind of where it covers it at. And he's been talking about how it's just, sort of been a hassle on him, and he's been wanting to do it for a long time. And, at the end of the day, we can only kick stuff down the road as much as we can, right? But I understand on you guys' part, no doubt. But yeah, again, if there's any questions or anything like that, I'd love to answer them.
How long will it take to do the job?
It's going to take a while. I mean, it's a big building. The most important part of the job is the actual pressure, the pressure washing, the steam cleaning, the preparation for it. Because if whoever that guy was, or if anybody else probably quoted this, they wouldn't even tell you that. I like to be upfront and honest with people. If you just, like, we water blasted yours off, we steam cleaned yours. If you just paint over top of that, what is the point of painting? You're painting over years of dust and dirt and bird crap and whatever else is on the building. So that's the most important part, is just getting it prepped right. Then afterwards, obviously, you do the painting, and that takes time too as well. But I would say completion of project, obviously you're depending on weather out here, and air traffic with you guys and things like that. But it'd probably take about 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks, for us to complete it.
You need airplanes out of the hangars when you're doing this?
We prefer airplanes out. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially for the sides of it, because the roof as well, it probably does have a little bit small holes in it, So yeah, they would need to be out there.
Okay.
That's all good. Where's Dawn?
Can, when you finish for the day, and the next day, can they put their airplanes back and hang over overnight?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, and we can coordinate what you guys schedule as far as that goes too. If somebody's not here to move it or whatever, we can do a specific part of the building. And if that can't be done that day, we'll wait a day or two for it to be moved or whatever needs to be done as far as that goes.
I don't think any of those tenants are going to argue with moving their airplanes just to get it so they don't leave on them.
No, it sounds like to me they've been wanting it done for a while.
I don't know what I'm going to do if I can't have a shower down there every time it rains.
All right.
No, that'll be good. So this cost is, what you priced here is painting the whole building?
Yes, it is. It's using the coating on every single screw head, using the elastomeric roof coating with 2 coats of paint on the roof, and then the sides would be using the super paint A100, 2 coats of that. Again, color you guys is picking. I think, Tyson, talked about some kind of color on a hanger down there that was maybe a little newer hanger that we were talking about doing the sides with.
I don't recall.
Again, whatever you guys pick, I mean, we painted stuff pink before, so color doesn't change the price, you know. But you know, I would say I would probably go with a lighter color. The reason why is because darker colors tend to fade over time. Like you see a lot of pipe fences painted red and things like that, and it kind of turns to like a maroonish, you know, over time. So I'd probably go with a lighter color, you know.
We talked about it our first meeting. And then
It wasn't an action item on the agenda? Wasn't this an action item on the agenda? Did we approve this?
No, we didn't.
I mean, we approved doing it, we didn't approve who was going to do it, right?
Yeah, we just had the one.
We talked about, yes, we
I
talked
think we
about.
did
So
approve
we
doing
talked-
it. So this is your discretion then, right? You get to do it.
Well, we just had one quote. And then
Oh, okay,
talked
get
about,
one.
okay, two,
That's what-
three. And then there was discussion, well, maybe me and Jason, as amateurs, could go there and do it panel by panel.
Right.
And, so I
So
don't.
you need to bring this, so you want.
So, yeah, we would need to bring it back and.
Right.
So, Ben, I'll tell you, anything over 25,000, we'd like this board to approve it, but then city council has to approve it also. If it's under 25,000, then this board can approve it and I can sign off on it.
Anybody else have any more further questions?
I just asked, Jimmy says to be there, he's there, he completes the job.
Okay.
I mean, we're going to do it right. You know, that's one thing with us. Whoever these guys were, again, I don't have nothing against them or whatever, but there's a reason why it looks like it does a month later. You know, wasn't a very professional job. You know, we've done John stuff. It's been a long time ago now. It looks real good. It's held up nice from what I understand. So, you know, again, we are negotiable to a certain point. It's just that we're kind of getting pretty low on the project. At the end of the day, it's a pretty big building, and this paint's a fortune, you know, for me to buy.
If we can, do you know by chance if that paint's available on state contract pricing?
Well, I don't know about the one flash. I highly doubt the one flash, but the super paint, as far as the sides goes, maybe. And then Last America, probably not either. The roof coatings are completely different than the side coatings because they're more of a specialized, what you would call coating, compared to where the sides is actually just a paint, you know. Maybe the side paint would be, which is what's called the super paint product. But we buy a ton of paint. I mean, we have our company's Tank Painters in Woodward. About 6 years ago, we bought another company that was Mid-America Painters. It's been there for forever and ever too. A guy named Rolf Helton owned it. So to answer your question, we get better pricing on our paint just because we buy so much of it in wholesale and high quantity that I probably would highly doubt that they could beat our price of buying it.
Do you mind getting us the specs on that and we can check out our vendor site?
The one flash, one of them papers has that. It's got, you know, kind of basically what it is essentially.
And if we are able to get it for better price, then you'd let us buy it and you'd use it?
Yes, I just don't know how much it's going to fully take. Because first it's got to be washed off. We have to see how much dirt and grime and things like that's going to come off first, and then that kind of judges how much it's going to take. Because the way that you have to buy that paint in particular, it either comes in a 2-gallon kit or it comes in a 5-gallon kit. And the 2-gallon kits are a lot easier to find than the 5-gallon kits are because not a lot of people's going in and buying 5-gallon kits of these. It's just usually a 2-gallon kit. Again, it only comes in white or gray color. So, I mean, yes, I guess so, but I just don't know if they would do that or not 100%. And, you know, like I said, for $3.80 a bucket, I mean, the tax is probably $400. Again, I just really don't have a clue of what it would actually take up there. I mean, I'm thinking it's probably going to take, just on the screw head part alone, I don't know, maybe 35 gallons of that, 40 gallons. I mean, it's a big, huge roof. And then after that, you have to, you know, the Last America roof coating. It's not as high of a product as that, but you're literally painting the whole complete roof twice after you put that one flash on there. So the elastomeric coating, you probably couldn't get a better price than we did on it, more than likely.
They've got a website, we'll just run it through the website, see
Yeah.
if it's there.
Everybody else good? Right, we adjourn at number 9. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.